Hello, boys and girls, and welcome back to Halftime Oranges. Internationals are over, so it's time for the Premier League preview show. We return now, but before we do start the preview show, there was some news yesterday that a certain amount of players will be banned from playing this weekend. Clive, what do you make of it?
It's an absolute farce, to be honest with you. I mean, like the arrogance of the Premier League is akin to those who wanted to depart and go and join the Super League. It is a case of, our shop's more important than your shop, and it's a case of, well, you're disrupting the biggest football tournament in the world in terms of the World Cup, and there's rules in place for this, and the FIFA are well within their rights to throw the book at them. I mean, I feel really sorry for Jamaica in all of this. They've probably come off worse than anybody. They've called up several players for their CONCACAF tournament. They've had qualifiers against Mexico, Panama, and Costa Rica. They finished off with a 1-1 draw against Costa Rica. Could have got something out of that Mexico game.
Are you wearing the new Ajax kit?
I am, yes.
In solidarity with
Jamaica.
Jamaica.
Of Jamaica, totally. I mean, like FIFA should throw the book at them. And if I was in charge of FIFA, I'd be knocking a six-figure fine on them as well. I mean, Premier League clubs, there's about 11 players affected altogether. Richarlison's going to get a bit of a pardon because the Brazilian FA agreed with Everton not to impose a ban by complaining about him because he represented Brazil in the Olympics, which isn't a FIFA event, and Everton let him go and do that. But the likes of Rafinha,
he won a gold medal for him as well, didn't he?
Yeah. I mean, Alisson will probably get banned. I think it affects Fabinho. I mean, obviously, Buendia and Romeo and the Argentinian tribe. They're all in quarantine anyway. So I mean, these are the rules, and the Premier League clubs have to abide by them.
Do you think there was another way of doing things?
They could have just simply said during the Copa America, let's play the games after the tournament when everyone was already there. But I mean, the facts are is that the communication on this has just been simply appalling. It's just been a game of pass the parcel where the Premier League just decided to just simply announce we're not following the rules. And then, FIFA went to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, and that kind of forced the Liga's hands to let their players leave. It's worth noting that PSG didn't dare stand in the way of the likes of Neymar and Messi joining up for Brazil and Argentina, and what gives them the God-given right to do so? I mean, these are the rules. They need to be followed. And now they're looking at doing deals with these FAs and begging the government to sort of do something for October and November. If this isn't sorted out, we're going to have exactly the same situation. And not only then does it devalue the World Cup, but it will also devalue the Premier League as well. But the rules are there for a reason, and maybe they need tweaking slightly. The one thing that is a bit unfair on the teams is some of the teams implicated in this, that it's going to affect their Champions League on the Tuesday, whereas those who are playing on the Wednesday, it won't. The simple solution there is to move the game, which I'm sure teams would probably agree to under the circumstances. But I mean, both FIFA and the Premier League have only got themselves to blame, and it was all the icing on the cake was the Brazilian health officials just piling on the against Argentina.
Embarrassing.
Could that need to be done though? Could that not have been? Was that more theatrical for?
Probably. I imagine someone in the Brazilian immigration has got a king size bollocking and decided to go and save some face, really. But I mean, it's just brought the game into total disrepute. It's just it just epitomises the sheer lack of communication between everybody regarding this issue. They could have played the matches after the Copa America. It is common also in Asia to count matches as qualification for other tournaments as well. Although I don't think that would have washed well with the South American FAs. Things could have been done. They could have played the games in America. They could have played the games in Europe because they're playing in pretty much empty stadiums in South America anyway. Could do better basically.
For the case of was it the Spurs players who falsified documents so they could get into Brazil so they could play?
Well, I believe that's been the case. I mean, no one's actually shown these documents. I mean, this is what Buendia and Lo Celso and Romero, Martinez, Buendia, they've all been accused of doing so. Tottenham have gone on record to say how furious they are with their players for taking the right up to represent their country. I mean, you know, what would actually happen? I mean, we are quite lucky that Brazil and Argentina, no matter what happens, they'll qualify anyway. I mean, they're so far ahead of the rest. But I mean, there'll be countries that will miss out because of the way this has been handled. There's no guarantee that Mexico qualify, especially with Jimenez being out for them. There's definitely no guarantee that Jamaica qualify. Uruguay are always on the cusp. They're all thereabouts. I mean, not really affected them too much. I mean, Cavani was proven that he wasn't entirely fit. But I mean, you know, the collaboration between the FAs worldwide in this needs to improve.
And there's internationals in about 4 weeks' time, I believe.
So again.
Same again.
Yeah.
Anyway,
let's they'll probably hope that the government maybe change the rules. And players,
something's going to have to give, isn't it? We can't be going through this again.
The players are tested more than NHS workers, to be honest with you. So
True,
I mean,
probably right.
There's no reason why you couldn't just test someone every day or every second day if they've been to a red list country. But then you have your Karens of these worlds that will cry foul that why are they given special treatment? I mean, these things need. There's going to have to be support on all fronts: government, FA, FIFA. Just to make sure another shambles doesn't occur in the next international window.
Well, let's hope it doesn't happen. But anyway, shall we crack on with these Premier League games this weekend, next Monday? All right, first game of the weekend, Crystal Palace against Tottenham Hotspur. Now, Crystal Palace didn't do too badly in that last game, a 2-2 away draw against West Ham. Broke the duck for the season. They hadn't scored in the previous 2 games. However, they still haven't won, remember, in their last 5 games. Actually, interesting fact, it'll be the first side to start a season playing 4 consecutive London derbies. It's never happened before in the Premier League. Could we see the new boy Elise and Will Hughes? Many think it's possible, but more likely that we'll be starting from the bench. The captain, Milivojevic, has been building up his fitness over the international break, but again, not sure if he will start or be on the bench. So I foresee Guaita to be in net, Ward and Mitchell on the wings, Joachim Anderson and Guaita at centre-back, and then a midfield 3 of Kouyaté, MacArthur, and the star from the last Premier League game, Gallagher. I expect Ayew to keep his place after a really good performance against West Ham. Zaha and Benteke making up the 11. As for Spurs, as we just alluded to, few players won't be making it. Lo Celso and Romero and Davinson Sanchez, they flew from Buenos Aires, I think, to Croatia on Monday to start a 10-day training camp on their own. They haven't flew back to London. They decided, instead of going into quarantine, they flew to Croatia to go into a fitness camp. They've got problems at the back. There's also Son, who was on international break, looks like he's done a little bit of damage to his calf. So he's a slight doubt. Probably will start, but still, there is doubts over his fitness. There was someone else. Oh, yeah, as well. Oliver Skipp was playing for the under-21s. He was seen with ice on his groin, so this could be issues there as well in that position. Bergwijn played for Holland as they beat Turkey, but he also picked up a little bit of an injury or a slight knock, so he is a doubt as well. So with all that in mind, we could see Tanganga playing at the back. I mean, it could be, is it Joe Rodon for Wales, who could get that? But again, he's got a little bit of an injury also. So yeah, we might see Royal, is it Royal or Royale?
Royal with cheese, isn't it?
Yeah, I saw that Instagram post from Tottenham. Smiley Royale on the right back. Now, if Oliver Skipp is out, Hojbjerg might partner Winks, or he might even think about bringing back Ndombele, who's been frozen out since he arrived. He could start.
haven't seen Winks in a long time. He was
Yeah.
the future, wasn't he, 2 years ago?
you very much thought so, didn't you?
If Harry Winks is the future, then it must be really fucking close to the end of the world.
And then we've got, of course, Harry Kane up top with Lucas Moura. And then, depending on Son, could be Bergwijn, or he might call upon your boy, Brian Gill might have Brian Hill, who played he played great, apparently, and scored in the Spanish under-21s this weekend.
Going to be a great bet for Spurs. Is
last couple of games, we've seen 2 1-all draws in this fixture in the previous seasons. With the players that I mentioned out, including Ramiro and Lo Celso and Sanchez, Crystal Palace, dare I say, have got a chance in this game.
Oh yeah, they have, and they've got their new signing Edouard as well, who's probably more fit than anyone, to be honest. Really, he's not been playing international football.
Not been playing for Celtic, though, has he?
A couple of years off.
You could say that. I mean, the standard of the Scottish League, but I mean, he's 2 or 3 weeks ahead of everyone else. The Scottish Premier League was about 8 or 9 games in, plus League Cup, so they start that quite early there, and. Yeah, I'm really excited to see Edouard. I mean, with the absences of Sanchez and Romero at the back, I suppose a little bit stretched at the back.
They are, yes.
With you and Palace at home, Son being out for this one isn't such a great loss for Spurs. He's only assisted once in 6 meetings at Selhurst Park, and it's a very narrow pitch, so there's not much room for kind of Son to kind of get into the space that he likes to get into. Kane was just outstanding against Poland in midweek, and I think we might sort of see him start to hit a bit of a purple patch for Spurs with this one.
Yeah, Spurs first, Crystal Palace 14th. Even with the players that they've got out, I still probably think Spurs could nick this one.
Yeah, Palace's home form wasn't great under Roy, so that's something Patrick Vieira will have to change. As you say, Kane banging form. Palace have got a lot of depth now in that midfield area all of a sudden. I don't know. I think Vieira against Spurs as well. There's a little bit of needle in it. It could be quite spicy this one.
I never even thought of that. Is there though?
But he'll want to win every game regardless. But I still think in terms of quality, Spurs maybe will have too much here. I'll probably go a narrow away win, and that's because of Spurs is the amount of unavailable players they've got.
Yeah, Spurs narrow win. However, if Crystal Palace managed to nick a draw, I would not be surprised at all. It's basically my summation.
I wonder what the odds would be on a fourth 1-0 in a row for Spurs. I mean, that would be exceptional if they could pull that off.
They haven't conceded this season, remember? But
no.
1-0, 1-0, 1-0. So yeah, we'll see. And with a weakened defence and Crystal Palace finding the net twice against West Ham away, it's actually an interesting game, and that's the early kickoff. So I'll be watching that one.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Shall we move on?
Yeah.
Who have we got next?
It's Arsenal Norwich, is it not?
I think you're right. Yeah, it must be, mustn't it? Clive, Arsenal.
Yeah,
Norwich.
I mean, this is 4 games in, so it's astounding.
I'm going to say make or break.
It's astounding that we're saying make or break for Arteta, but we are. But I tell you what, I mean, he does have some young talent coming through, which I'll come to in a minute. But the news for Arsenal is Nketiah, Partey, and White. They're all available now, so that's a big plus.
That is a big plus. Yeah.
And Xhaka being suspended might not be the worst thing in the world for him. And they hopefully Tomiyasu is going to make his debut after international duty with Japan. He's very versatile, so I mean, they can slot him in anywhere at the back, and should things occur during the game, then I think he'll add hopefully a bit more a bit more of a solid defence there. I mean, Burnley really they've no new injuries for Burnley. I mean, they're going to give a fitness test to the new signing, Maxwell Cornet. So I mean, he may make his debut. I imagine he'll see some game time as the game goes on. I mean, Arsenal.
Wait. I think Maxwell Cornet signed for Burnley, not Norwich. Mate.
Yeah, sorry.
They've got the same kit supplier. Has he got?
Sorry, my bad. Yeah, they've got the same kit supplier. I was miles away then. Norwich, really, they're going to have pretty much the same team, aren't they? They're going to be, Pookie up top. It's going to be any creativity is going to come from Cantwell. Really, some good signings over the transfer window at Kabak. I think they really needed someone a bit more solid at the back. So I think Kabak definitely does provide that.
It's interesting you talk about Cantwell because he was linked with a number of clubs, wasn't he, over the transfer window? But the performances he's put in so far this season don't seem to be of a quality. No, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I would go with that. I don't think he looks on the pace. I don't think he looks like the type of player who can make a difference at the moment, and that's someone they do need, especially with someone like Buendia. I guess were they looking to Todd Cantwell to fill in that gap?
Big gap.
I know. But yeah, so far, not great.
I just kind of think, with Arsenal, I mean, they're putting a lot of faith in the youngsters. So you've got Smith Rowe, you've got Saka, a couple of youngsters there that have genuine talent that might pull them through this really sticky patch. And Charlie Patino, a 17-year-old lad, was playing, for the youth team, for the under-21s as well against Swindon, and he looks an absolute baller. I was absolutely, really impressed. And you do wonder, Edu's been talking about the project that they've got at Arsenal. Are they going to sort of just give Arteta some time and try and bring some of these youngsters through? Because you do get the feeling that they've spent a lot of money now, and that's kind of what they're going to play with really for the rest of the season, and probably push the youth through, because the only experience they've got in that side really is Xhaka, although he's suspended for this one, Lacazette, Aubameyang, and then it's quite a young team after that, really, if you don't include Bert Leno in the picture. So
do you think Leno will start?
Yeah, I don't see any well.
They spent 30 million, haven't they, on a replacement or a reserve keeper?
Really, is Ramsdale any better?
I don't know.
That's the problem with all these signings. None of these signings are any better than what they have.
He's been relegated. He's been relegated twice. I mean, I just think with
could be a third time.
Could be a third time. Has that ever happened with a goalkeeper before in the Premier League? I mean, if I was Arteta, I'd be more concerned in getting that back four solid before you dump a new goalkeeper in the limelight there, because I mean, he could be on a hiding to nothing here if he does get put in front of Norwich, and there ends up being a bit of a pucky party. And if they do lose on Saturday, then the knives will be well and truly out, and Arteta will be left in no doubt as to how the fans feel about him. And then it's Burnley next, which is why I was getting confused earlier. So the way I see it is he's got pretty much 2 games to turn this around. 2 wins for them, and then it's Tottenham, isn't it?
Yeah.
After that, Tottenham at home. I mean, if he wins both of these and then gets a point at Spurs, I mean, Arsenal fans will take that, really, especially in the bottom of the league.
Yeah, I'm looking at the attacking options of Arsenal now, right? Just at face value on paper. If you've got Saka, Lacazette, Aubameyang, and Odegaard, and then behind them you've got Lokonga, and Partey, that's looking a lot stronger now. Now that they did have a lot of injuries.
Yeah, well, they can make 6 changes to that first 11 going into this game, which is a complete facelift for the team, isn't it? So the season it's must win. It is absolutely must win for Arteta. 100%. I wonder if they don't score early, if it goes in 0-0 at half time, and then that Emirates crowd gets on his back,
will jangle a little bit, won't they?
And you got to think as well that Norwich are going to know this.
Yeah. All the teams around.
So
that area,
I think they'll be very, very relaxed going to Arsenal.
Not intimidated, basically.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, exactly.
It's fascinating, really, because they need an early goal, Arsenal here, I think.
Just to settle the nerves.
Yeah.
Can you foresee them getting it?
I can't see anything, but the fixture list wasn't kind to them, was it? We said Brentford away first day, and then Chelsea and Man City, and with a stack of injuries as well. So it is hard to judge what they've done so far, but what they have done so far has been bloody awful, isn't it? So that's why he's got all this pressure on his back. Norwich, and he spent so much money. Norwich
have lost their last 13 Premier League matches and have failed to score in 7 of their last 8 away games.
Free hit though, away at Arsenal.
Yeah.
What do we see happening though?
All right, I'm obviously gonna go an Arsenal win. Obviously, with this,
Pinches, yeah.
I've got to. Looking at the teams on paper of the potential lineups, Arsenal are just so much better. And like you said, they did have it hard going with the fixtures earlier on, and they had a lot of good players missing. They're now returning, and they're playing against a Norwich team that's terrible, who've been forming really, really badly. So saying that, they did okay against Leicester, didn't they, Clive? You watched them.
All right. Well, Leicester weren't that good, really. So, I mean, hard to tell, really.
Go on then, predictions, boys. I'm going to go home win.
I'm going to go score draw with Norwich. Norwich equalising in the 90th minute, cueing a mass pitch invasion.
I'm going to go the other way. I think there might be a last-minute winner for Arsenal. So the old 97 minutes at the Emirates, I think. But it's a win.
Who's scoring that winner?
Saka, maybe.
I thought you were going to go Ben White.
It would be nice
maybe
if Saka could redeem himself in this one a little bit. That'd be nice.
All right. Well, moving on then. Next game is Brentford and Brighton.
Straight the big one. Yeah, on paper, this doesn't look like a Premier League fixture. I think these clubs have met over the last 20 years.
You've been harsh on yourself there, mate.
Over the last 20 years, they've met at every league, basically, up until the Premier League. So from League 2 all the way up, yeah. Which shows you the progression and the journey these two teams have been on. For Brighton, still no Lamptey. Graham Potter came out in the week.
Let's just you don't have to record Lamps anymore. Just tell us when he's back.
He played 20 minutes in a behind closed doors 11 v 11 yesterday, and Potter said that he might start against Swansea in the League Cup in a couple of weeks' time. So after that,
wrap him up in cotton wool. Forget about that cup.
I think they're just easing him back in. Maybe that might be what it's not really important for us. But yeah, so still no Lamptey, but which probably means that Joel Veltman will go right back, I imagine. And then it could be a debut for Cucurella at left back. And with that, 3 then of Webster, Dunk and Shane Duffy, who scored again for Ireland in the week. That defence looks very, very strong. Jakob Moder played last night against England, looked very good, as he did in the first game against England. Now, there's calls for him to start now in the midfield, so we might see him be introduced.
Instead of
signing... I don't know who would come out there. You got Mwepu,
Lallana,
maybe Lallana. Lallana doesn't start every week, but Moder he's quite versatile. He can play on the left as well. But he was signed for $6 million last year, and that sort of went under the radar. But he could turn into a real player for us. Aaron Connolly got injured for Ireland, played 45 minutes in one of the games. About that, aren't you? Yeah, which means now our 2 fit strikers fit. If you can ever call Danny Welbeck fit, it's Danny Welbeck and Neil Maupay. Which means we might even be looking at a free agent to come in, as we did last year with Danny Welbeck, which is beggars belief. Daniel Sturridge is the talk. Is that not just Danny Welbeck? Is that not just the same signing a year after? I don't know.
Very similar.
Very similar, yeah, exactly. For Brentford, Brentford still unbeaten. Onyeka is isolating from COVID, so he might.
Wait, just before you go to Brentford, Brighton. Who would play in behind Maupay? If Maupay's not up top on his own, is Trossard fit?
He'd go Trossard out wide, and then Alexis.
Okay, yeah.
Alexis McAllister, probably.
Has he been playing well? Because he was sort of a bit part player, would you say, last season?
Yeah, well, he was a player that we, because Brexit, remarkably, we were able to get him a visa quite quickly after that happened. And he was a signing that we made 2 years ago, and we couldn't get him a work permit.
Right.
And he came in under Chris Hughton. And whenever he's played, he's looked okay. He's never really had a bad game. He hasn't been given much of a chance. He came on in the first game against Burnley, kind of changed the game. So I wonder if he'll get a bit of a run now. But yeah, for Burnley, we know what to expect. They won't really change the front, the first 11 too much. Up front, we'll have Tony and Burmo in behind. And I don't know, this could be quite a boring one. I think both sets of teams happy to keep the ball in their own half and knock it around. And I don't know how many men they'll actually commit forward for this one. I could see this being a 1-1. Brighton taking a draw and Brentford happy with a draw. But again, it's hard to call. Both teams have started the season quite brightly.
Yeah, I feel like the only thing that's separating the teams, I do think Brighton have a tad bit more quality. Maybe not up front, to be fair.
That's it. We could do with Tony.
But I think what might separate them, we keep saying this, but the ground, Brentford being at home, might give them that little bit. This is only the second time they played, right? The first game against Arsenal, and now they're back. And I feel like the Brentford crowd will expect to win. And I feel like Brentford, you said they wouldn't, but I think they will attack. I think they're going to go.
Oh, I think, Brentford are very good going forward. You've got Mbuemo playing out. I think they're going to
push.
Well.
I think they are going to push forward. And I think it could go one of two ways. I feel like Brentford, I think they could win like a 2-0 or something, or Brighton will do well on the counter-attack. So I'm not going to go for a draw. I'm going to go for a Brentford or a Brighton win. And I'm sorry, Stefan, I'm going to go for a Brentford win.
We've seen it before, haven't we, with Blackpool, Bournemouth, how important home form is to these newly promoted teams, as you say. So,
and don't they know it now as well?
Exactly,
so.
Going back to your striker issues, you've got a real cream of talent of out of work strikers. Hal Robson-Kanu is probably one of the picks of the bunch there.
You could probably get him on the podcast. He's the sort of person we could get on this podcast.
Tevez is available.
Yeah,
and if you really want to go very adventurous, Hwang Song-han has been released by Juventus, North Korea's star striker.
Wow.
So there you go. I mean, I'll be straight all over him. Connor Wickham is another choice. Andy Carroll. We've mentioned Tevez. This is a real bunch of dastardly strikers that would fit right in, I think, at the Amex Stadium. So,
in what sense?
Basically.
In what sense do you mean? I feel like they'd fit in at Watford. I'm not sure much about Brighton.
Watford's just a scrapyard for.
At least there's 10 to choose from really. Watford, though, isn't it?
That's true.
Cisse, 36 years old.
You're just saying random footballers' names, aren't you? Taylor.
Can you see him in a Brighton shirt?
Cool. I'll take anyone right now.
Dembele.
Big year from Neil Maupay. He really has to kick on this year because a lot of faith has been put in him.
This
is against his old club.
Demba Ba. I could see 36 years old. He'd do a job at Brighton, wouldn't he? If nowhere else in the nightclubs. Surely.
Ben Arthur. Play him up top.
I don't know. Is he a free agent? Probably is. Yeah. I mean, there's some shockers available.
Wilfred Boney.
Is he available? There we
go. Be. All right. Well, Clive, have you got a prediction for that game?
0-0.
Yeah. All right. Well, moving on. Big one, Clive. Leicester versus Manchester City.
Well, I mean, I'd really, for selfish reasons, I mean, it would be nice if FIFA did throw the book at Man City for this one. They're not releasing Jesus and Edouard. Because it means
Edison. You mean
Edison? Sorry.
Yeah.
It means Scott Carson will make his debut for the season.
Is that going to happen?
I see Jamie Vardy licking his lips already, mate.
Because the other exactly. Because the other incumbent,
Stefan, isn't it?
Is it? Yeah, Stefan. He's got COVID. So Carson, if Edison's left out, then is the only fit goalkeeper for Manchester City.
I think the whole of the league have got their fingers crossed for that one. That'd be brilliant. Opportunity.
Fantastic. I mean, Vardy would just be absolutely loving that. I mean, we do need a bit of luck really to kickstart our season because we haven't been looking great. I think he will probably give Iheanacho his first start of the season because Harvey Barnes hasn't quite looked quite at it. Neither of us.
You play Iheanacho on the wing then, as one of the front three.
You can. He's a far better striker down the middle though. He's actually towards the end of last season. Rodgers was far preferring to play Vardy.
I was just about to say, what do you do when you're playing both? You put Vardy on the wing,
a bit further on the left, which would then sort of suggest that, and then Barnes would kind of cut inside sometimes. You could do it that way. And Perez, thank God, is still suspended for this one. Is Johnny Evans going to be fit, or is it going to be a Marty partner in Soyuncu at the back? They do not look a very confident partnership. It was very interesting for the Europa League. Benkovic has been named in the squad after being sent out on loan every season. So we're hanging on to him, and we need to because obviously We don't have the ever reliable Wes Morgan to rely on. He retired. Piera also suffered a hamstring injury against Norwich. It's touch and go if he's going to be fit for this one. He may still go with Castagna in place of him, and then I don't see the reason why not to continue with Luke Thomas on the left. I mean, Bertrand's going to be itching to sort of get his first start in the Premier League for Leicester. But I mean, Luke Thomas really, out of everybody, has been the most consistent performer for Leicester City. It is going to come down to, I think, who's going to end up in goal for Man City. I mean, I could see Vardy getting a couple and Leicester coming out 2-1 winners. But I mean, if they are at full strength, Man City, I can see Pep roulette again because Torres has played a lot of football recently. They've got, is it Red Bull Leipzig in the Champions League midweek? And it's a case of, does Torres miss this one playing Champions League, or does he play him in Champions League and then rest him against Southampton the following week? But I think if Jesus is banned by FIFA, he'll have no choice but to play Torres up front. So and Torres is a massive threat for Man City. I'd snap your hand off at a draw now, but it'd be interesting to see what comes out tomorrow with a bit more of an update on this FIFA issue, because I think that may well change the tactics that Rodgers employs for this game.
Yeah, is KDB still not available for this?
I think he's still doubtful. Still
doubtful.
Yeah.
I mean, it was touch and go whether he was going to have an operation or not. They've decided so far against an operation. But I mean, let's see.
Yeah, I think I
think he'll play in this one.
If it is Scott Carson in goal, that's a massive advantage for Leicester.
If it's Scott Carson in goal, Brendan Rodgers needs to be playing Iheanacho and Vardy up front and really going for their throats, because you will not get a better chance of beating Man City this season.
The trouble is, though, even if they got Scott Carson in net, the amount of quality they've got in front of goal hinders teams from getting the ball and being able to shoot, right? So even if Scott Carson is in net, do you still foresee a victory? Do you still think that'll... Because you will get limited opportunities, right? Because of the 11 that City will put out, if we're being honest, or the 10 outfield players.
I mean, Vardy's always performed very well against the top six, though, hasn't he?
That's true.
I would see he'd be well up for this one.
It's hard to judge where City are right now, because they had Tottenham on the first day and they didn't look at it, did they? And they had Norwich and Arsenal.
Yeah, two of the worst teams in the league.
Exactly, so, yeah. And Leicester have got a good... Well, last season at least, they went away, didn't they, and won 5-2 there. I don't know, I can see Leicester winning this.
I mean, one of my highlights for international week this week has been seeing Iheanacho bag 2 goals for Nigeria. And if that's not a message to Brendan Rodgers that he's fit and raring to go, then I don't know what is.
Now, what about Albrighton though? Will he keep his place?
I'd play Albrighton ahead of Barnes, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, and let's not forget about Ademola Lookman. I mean, he's been brought in for a reason. You know, he's been brought in, to further our attacking options. Rodgers maybe will just throw him straight in there and just surprise everybody.
Do you foresee that though? Would you'd be a bit pissed off if you saw Lookman ahead of Iheanacho, right?
I would be pissed off if I saw Lookman ahead of Iheanacho, but I'm a bit all surprised if you see something of Lookman with maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes to go in this one, depending on how the game's poised, to be perfectly honest.
All right. I haven't given a prediction yet, but I'm going to say City are going to sneak it. I hate saying that, but yeah, I do.
I'm going to go to... Well, again, it all depends on who's in goal.
Because I don't think you played very well against Norwich.
No, we didn't.
I don't think you've been... You filled me... Well, you didn't fill me with dread, but you didn't give me a great impression of the Leicester team last. And I don't think they've been playing great football. I don't think they've got in a gear yet. And I think City might be able to take advantage. Yeah,
they looked a bit tired. They looked like they were just in motion, some of them. And they just don't look like that. That spine of the team doesn't look like it's clicked at all this season. And, well, it needs to, because we've got Napoli Thursday night in the Europa League. I mean, Rodgers might have an eye on that. There is a rumour, actually, that there's 4 Napoli players that won't be allowed to travel because of quarantine restrictions.
Oh, God.
So that will
Surely.
affect his starting 11, do you think? You've got to play your best team at City at home, haven't
You've
you?
got to play your best team at City at home. I do wonder, though, with the attacking options he's got in Barnes, Dake, Nacho, Vardy, who gets the nod? You know, I mean, and Vardy's going to be like really, you know, wanting to make sure he plays in Europe. He's probably got another couple of years left in him. And Man City, like I said, they've got Red Bull Leipzig midweek. So I mean, it is going to be, you know, there's a lot of permutations in what can affect the team selection. So casting goal is going to be one of the most interesting ones there if that does happen.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully he does start. Unless
2-1. I'm going to stick my neck on the line. 2-1 Leicester.
And you're going for a Leicester win as well, Stefan?
I think so, yeah. I'm not convinced by City so far this season, to be honest.
But like you said, do we know?
Yeah,
we
exactly.
don't really know, yeah.
Still no KDB, which is a massive... I think when KDB comes back and Grealish are in the same 11, that's going to be interesting to see what happens there, because that's going to be a clash.
And then what happens when Foden's fit as well?
Oh, yeah. It's just, then rotation, right? Then Pep Roulette, as Clive says.
Yeah. All right, then moving on. Manchester United versus Newcastle United. Does Ronaldo start? Yes, he bloody well does. Okay, boys and girls. Looks like Fred might not be playing because of the reasons we've just stated. So the back five now pretty much takes care of itself. De Gea in net, Shaw left back, Wan-Bissaka right back. Then you've got Varane and Maguire. We've got options in midfield. Not great options. We could play Matic, we could play Pogba, or we could play Van de Beek.
Well, he's been pushing for a move. He's been out on media all week saying he can play there.
Did you watch that?
Yeah, he's clearly beefed up. Yeah, he said he played there for Ajax, and he said he's happy to play wherever.
He said they played there for Ajax, but then they moved him forward. Maybe they thought he wasn't a very good.
He's quite creative, isn't he? But I mean, you think of someone like Michael Carrick playing in that role. He wasn't necessarily what you call a ball winner, right? So he doesn't always need to be that blood and guts sort of midfielder. I wonder if Newcastle at home is a perfect. What you think of that Newcastle central midfield?
Yeah, well, listen, I've watched Van de Beek, and I'm not in the same opinion as a lot of United fans. Where give him it, like save Van de Beek, save Donny, give him the chance. I don't think he's proved himself so far. He has been given a few opportunities, and he hasn't looked great in the matches that I have seen him. I have to say that. I'd love him.
He's not really been given a chance, though, has he?
He hasn't been. I'm telling you, the few games that he has played in, he's been giving away the balls. He looks off the pace. Solskjaer's had to take him off a few times, and rightly so. However, going against that, this is, like you said, the perfect time to start him and give him that opportunity. And I think he works. He does work hard. Everyone says that he works hard in training. I gave a great interview with Rio. Solskjaer says he wants him to stay. So there must be a reason for that. It must be great in training. It must be great to have around, but he has to play. So I would like him to start now. If Fred's not going to be available, then let's put either Matic and Van de Beek in midfield together, or let's do Van de Beek and Pogba. And then if you want to do Matic and Pogba, you can do Van de Beek on the outside left, where he's played for Ajax. So that's another option that we've got. Greenwood will probably play on the right, and Ronaldo will play up top. Bruno will be in behind. On the left side, though, I did say that Van de Beek could start there, but we can play Pogba there. We could play Martial there, who did actually play he played all right when he came on against Wolves. He got the ball down and started to attack them, caused them problems. He also scored for France midweek. Yeah. He started up front and scored against Ukraine away. We could play Martial on the left. So I hope, I would personally like him to play Donny van de Beek in centre mid, just to shut a lot of people up, to be honest. And if he plays well, he plays well. If he doesn't, then,
he was signed. Well, he wasn't signed for that role, as you say. He was signed because they thought they were going to lose Pogba, basically.
Correct. Yeah, exactly.
Pogba stayed.
They signed, it's obviously Solskjaer's signing players to push other players on. They've signed players that could potentially take that position, not as backup. And I think he signed Van de Beek as like an attacking midfielder who can play on the left, similar to Pogba, to push him on. We've never thought of him as a defensive midfielder, but all of a sudden, everyone's like, play him there, play him there, play him there. Now, McTominay had that thigh surgery, so it doesn't look like he's going to be anywhere near this pitch. It could be on the bench, apparently, but seems a little bit early to bring someone back from surgery. So, yeah, I think if it's the time, If there's a time to play Van der Beek, now is the time to do it. Lingard this week, well, someone stated, it was a newspaper, I think, that said that 6 clubs were after him this summer.
I can see that. He looks amazing for England.
Yeah,
albeit against Andorra, but
exactly. But yeah, Solskjaer
saying,
said he wanted to stay, and then this week he said he doesn't want. He's not going to sign a new contract.
Well, of course he will do. Because basically, he's basically saying, "Come and get me in January and give me a massive signing on fee."
But he could have left. He could have left already.
And yeah, he could have done.
And now he could potentially risk his World Cup place in the England squad, right? If he's not playing at all for Man United, which could happen. Has he made a mistake? I think United have made a mistake by not selling him, to be honest.
He's in a very good situation, Lingard, I think. I mean, it's been said that even when he wasn't playing from August to January last season, he buckled down in training, and you could see the way that he got off onto an absolute flyer against Aston Villa when he made his debut for West Ham on loan. He got a brace in that match when West Ham went away to Villa.
He didn't make the England squad, did he?
Well,
if that's the case this season, he won't make the World Cup squad. So he's took a big risk. He's took a huge risk.
He's still looking at it from a financial point of view, and he's a massive Man United fan as well. So I mean, to be honest, I don't blame him for like.
I understand that, and that's fair play.
Hanging on,
but at the same time, this is your career, right? You might not get to play in another World Cup again. Plus, if you're Ollie, sort of morally, do you want to keep a player like that sat on the bench, sat on the squad, training every day, where you can't promise him a game? Where if he does play for another team, he's most likely going to start, right? Look, so I feel like both parties have missed a trick here. I think United should have sold him, and I think he should have pushed for a sale.
He can consider himself really hard done by, because if he had a different name and you weren't judging him on the last 5 years, he'd be playing in any other team. He went into West Ham, and he was one of the players of the second half of the season, right? And it's just what he's done in the past, which prevents you from saying, he's not good enough for the England squad. He'll never fit in that United team. You've had Dan James and Martial starting your first 11.
But he's an attacking midfielder, isn't it? And that means that you're going to be behind Bruno and you're going to be behind Pogba. I don't have a problem with Lingard. I just don't think that he's going to get game time. And I think he needs game time, right? He's like, 28 now?
He should be pushing for game time, though. That's what I mean, on the form.
But how you can't, can you? When you've got Pogba and you've got Bruno in front of you, with like 2 of the best players in the world in that position. So why not go to someone like West Ham or Everton?
Well, he will, won't he? He will. He'll go to that next bracket, as you say, that West Ham, Everton, Leicester, that sort of range of teams, I imagine, in January.
And I'm just saying, he will. I think he should have done it in the transfer window. I think he's missed the trick.
Yeah,
but
West Ham was the one.
At the same time, I think keeping him is United's gain. Because of all the games that we're going to come up, he will play. He'll feature here and there, which is great for us. But
he's a great super sub. He's a great super sub.
Is he though? Against Wolves, we didn't even consider bringing him on, did we? We brought on Martial instead.
Well,
so he's down. He's not. Not really in the pecking order, is he?
If Lingard's already come out and said, "I don't care, I'm not going anywhere," and they're probably itching to get rid of Martial. Didn't some French club come in for Martial?
Leon came in. They wanted to do a loan deal, apparently. So
I mean,
to do a loan deal.
If you've got a player that's saying, "I'm not going," no matter what, and then you've got another player who you probably like to shift, like from a football political kind of view, you're going to stick him in the shop window, aren't you, Martial? Right? What's the point in who both do a similar job? Although I do think Lingard's a better player.
You're right. Out of those 2, one of them should probably have said that they wanted to leave for personal reasons to get more game time. I don't think it's really worked out well, the United move for Martial, to be honest. This is his 7th season, I believe. 7 years already at Man United.
Started really well, didn't he? That first few games.
He scored against Liverpool in his very first game, and everyone was like, bloody hell,
he had a little purple patch a couple of seasons ago, right?
He did. I think he's got about 18 or 19 Premier League goals a couple of seasons ago. But that was when he was playing up top. He's not going to get that opportunity anymore because we've got Ronaldo, Cavani, and probably Greenwood ahead of him. So if we are going to play, Rashford coming back, he's going to be out on the left. So he's another player who might not get much playing time. However, maybe with someone like Ronaldo in the team, in the squad, knows how to push him in training, we'll get to see the best of Martial this season. People think we will. I don't know where that comes from because we've already seen 6 seasons of inconsistency. I just think we're going to see more. And if there was an opportunity to get rid of him or cash in now and give Lingard more game time, I would have been in favour of that. But it is what it is. But yeah, the big news is, boys and girls, Ronaldo will start. All right. Anyway, on to Newcastle. Old lady Bruce.
Had a holiday, isn't he? He's been on holiday, Steve Bruce.
Has he?
Yeah.
I mean, why can't he take a holiday?
Butlins?
If someone needs a holiday, it's Steve Bruce, right?
Exactly.
I saw the. I follow a lot of the Newcastle fans on Twitter, and they were saying that on Betfred, John Terry has gone from 90-1 to 33-1 to be the next Newcastle manager today.
Deary me.
It's all starting.
John Terry and Dennis Wise making the decisions.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Horrible.
Second coming of the Cockney Mafia.
Days. I mean, can you just imagine that?
You can imagine it. Can't you just imagine that?
Oh, it'd just be a bloody nightmare. I don't know whether to laugh or cry for Newcastle fans. I mean, honestly, from the
Steve Bruce
sublime,
got a 3-year deal, right?
from the sublime.
What does that mean in football anymore, mate?
From the sublime to the ridiculous. I mean,
Newcastle's got Steve Bruce is sublime. It's a
From the
sublime
ridiculous.
Is a sublime author.
done almost as well as Rafa Benitez as there. And I'll keep on saying this: Newcastle fans need to be very careful what they wish for, because if they got John Terry, they'd go down. I'm telling you now.
You're telling us right now, yeah?
I think if they got the majority of other managers, they'd go down. I mean, there's a lot of players there at Newcastle that are very much above their station, I think, and they're probably playing in a league that, for a lot of teams they wouldn't see light of day.
I think to choose your first managerial role as Newcastle makes zero sense whatsoever. I can understand Steve Bruce going there, years of experience, been there, done that, understands how to work with lower players, not have a budget. Not that matters to the Geordie fans, but
I mean,
John Terry. Anyway, it's all speculation. It might not happen.
Since Bobby Robson, the mighty have just continued to fall at Newcastle. I mean, Sam Allardyce didn't do the greatest there, did he? And the Newcastle fans turned on him after about 7 or 8 games. Alan Shearer flopped miserably. Alan Pardew at everyone's dinner and shags everyone's wife. And then, Houghton comes in, does a half decent job, gets the boot, and now they had that Benitez, who a miracle they kept hold of him, and then now they've got Bruce, who's been given, a packet of Maltesers and a ham sandwich to deal with in the transfer window. I mean,
I think he's been eating more than that.
Probably. I mean, if anyone's got an ounce of common sense in Newcastle, it'll be Mike Ashley. They'll be directing things to. I could understand Newcastle's problem with Bruce if he'd been given the same amount of money that Arteta had been given, and they were demonstrating this kind of absolutely dog shit football. But they haven't. He's not been given a pot to piss in. So I mean, what do they expect? Their expectations at Newcastle should be to get on their hands and knees and pray that there's 3 clubs worse than them every single bloody season, because they are
listening to Talk on the Tune with Clive.
They are 2 or 3 injuries away. Callum Wilson's already injured. He's done his hamstring again. They are 2 injuries away from Armageddon. I'm telling you now.
If St. Maximin ever gets injured, that's it. Game over. White flag time.
I mean, then they'll be looking at the likes of Connor Wickham on a free transfer.
Carlos.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, let's go through the Newcastle team. Woodburn in goal, Shah, Lascelles and Fernandez, Ritchie and Murphy at wing back, Longstaff. Hayden is doubtful, but apparently will play. And then we've got Joe Willock. And then St. Maximum. Clive, you already told us that Wilson is out because of his hamstrings, which means Joe Linton will be back up top. Almiron will not start because of the situation we talked about previously. Newcastle.
I'll give it 10 minutes until Lascelles sticks out his leg and Ronaldo just goes absolutely flying.
If you could pick a return debut for Ronaldo, Newcastle at home,
you just know it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to be the Ronaldo show, isn't it?
Well, a lot of pressure on him. I wonder if he can cope with it. Of course he can. Anyway, Newcastle have conceded at least 2 goals in their last 3 Premier League games. What have I wrote here? 33 of the 37 games that United have played previously against Newcastle in all competitions, we haven't lost. Last 2 games against Newcastle in this fixture, 3-1 United and 4-1 United. And we have scored at least 3 goals in the last 4 games against Newcastle. So I am going with a 3-0 Manchester United win. Do you know what I didn't mention was Sancho? We got he left the England squad. Yeah, he's doubtful. He hasn't looked fit. He didn't look great against Wolves, to be honest.
Well,
that was a difficult game to come into.
He didn't really have much pre-season. He was a bit ill, not with COVID, but he had the flu or something when he came back from holiday after England duty or something. And he's I mean, it might take him a while to get into the swing of things, maybe.
Yeah, maybe on the bench. 3-0 United, Ronaldo hat-trick, all the cameras on him, even though it's not a live game. Even though they were trying to push for it to be a live game, which I do think is quite fun. But yeah, maybe a 3-1 because we might play with a weakened centre midfield. And St. Maximin can do something stunning. But yeah, no. More than likely a 3-0 United, I'm going.
And if you get a penalty, which you could well do, who takes it?
Bruno hands the ball majestically to Ronaldo, sets the scene.
I can see them sharing him. I can see them sharing free kicks for sure.
Yeah.
Penalties? If there's penalty on Saturday, Ronaldo's taking it. Good luck to anyone who tries taking it off him.
I don't want him to take free kicks. I do not want him to take. I don't want him anywhere near.
Record actually, is
he? Terrible. No, he's not good at free kicks. He's terrible. Yeah, so he can take penalties if he wants. I don't think that would be fair to take it away from Bruno. Bruno idolizes him though, so if he probably asks, he probably will allow him to. But yeah,
I think it'd be a case of asking.
No, Ronaldo is in charge now.
It might be in his contract. I don't know.
This is the issue. This could be John Terry and Avram Grant making the subs. I think. I don't know. I just feel maybe. I think it's all positive, but there might be a situation where Mike Phelan, Michael Carrick, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer are all sat there doing rock paper scissors to tell Ronaldo he can't play. I don't know. There's no man bigger than the team, but this, I don't know. I just feel like maybe Ole isn't the man. Ole seems like a bit of a fan more than anything. In long term,
it's true.
Did you see the picture of them meeting?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
He looked nervous.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you want to do? But yeah, any advance on 3-0, fellas?
Could be more, if anything. I'll go 4 or 5.
4 or 5-0. Clive?
Yeah, I'm going to go 4-1, Man U.
All right. Well, moving on from Manchester United and Newcastle United, we're going to look to Southampton against West Ham, Stefan.
Yeah, West Ham have been quite busy, haven't they, in the last week? We mentioned they've signed Krau, Krasic and Zuma. And I wonder if Zuma might be in line to make his debut. They've got the Europa League as well this week as well. So maybe they'll have one eye on that away in Zagreb. Mikel Antonio, he is available because he only played in one of the Jamaica games against Panama where they got beaten 3-0. It's a bit of a poor debut for him. So you can expect to see Antonio with Fornals behind and then Benrahma and Bowen on the wings.
That team picks itself now, doesn't it, really?
It looks very strong going forward.
Yeah.
And then you've got Rice and Souček in the centre mid. Outside of the big teams, if you like, there's not too many better than West Ham in terms of first 11 now. You think they've strengthened up at the back as well. For the Saints, not too much team news. Stuart Armstrong was injured on international duty, so I'm not sure who will come in there, who will go with. I'm certain he might go with that waistcoat. Livramento and Ilianusi have all made good starts. So it's been a bit of a positive. So what's been a fairly moderate start for the Saints, they had that tough away fixture at Everton on the first day with Armstrong scoring. Then they had they looked quite resolute, didn't they, against Man United?
Yeah, they did.
And then a point last minute.
Very unlucky against Newcastle, to be honest.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think West Ham have won 6 of the last 7 meetings when they've come up against each other, and they haven't lost in 6. And Southampton, going back to last season, haven't won in the last 5. And it's a tough one to call. Obviously, West Ham dropped points last time out. I just think in terms of quality, I think maybe West Ham have got a little bit too much, and maybe we might see Antonio amongst the goals again. So I'll probably go for a narrow away win here for West Ham.
I think, like you said, with that one eye in the Europa League, do you think Moisey might take this opportunity to drop a few players to save them for that fixture. Because if he
I wouldn't
does,
be.
then
I wouldn't be. Yeah, I wouldn't. Be
they're in trouble. I think they could
Well,
be in trouble because, like you said, that starting 11 is superb.
Yeah.
But if you start picking players out of that starting 11, you're dropping in players of lesser quality, and I don't think they're as good. I don't think they can perform the way they have been performing. And I foresee that. I think Southampton could nick something here. I really do.
I wouldn't be surprised if Antonio doesn't start. He might get brought on a bit later on. The new striker, name escapes me now. He might get a bit of a run out. Shane Long, he's got COVID, so he's not going to feature at all. Stealing a living as a footballer. And then Southampton are at full strength, really, aren't they?
We got long COVID.
They've also got the new boy as well, Lianco.
Yeah, he could be in line for a debut.
Yeah. He always wanted to play for Southampton, so.
Oh yeah,
for him to start, but yeah, a really positive result. Well, I say positive. It was Newcastle, but they deserve more from the game than a draw. But yeah, I feel like it's starting to click a little bit better now, Southampton, if they can start finishing a few of those chances, especially the ones that Djenepo had. And I feel like Southampton will be fine. They are facing a very good West Ham team, no bones about it. But if Moisey does what he does and starts to fiddle a little bit, I do think Southampton have got a chance in this one. I don't think it's going to be West Ham's. It's going to go all West Ham's way. Bloody hell, I'm going on the fence. I'm going for a draw.
I'm going to go for a draw. I was thinking 1-1.
Yeah, I think so.
Purely
too.
because
I just don't think Southampton can get it over the line. I think they'll have an opportunity to, but I don't know if they can at the moment.
I think Moyes needs to handle Antonio's minutes a little bit because I think as the season progresses with the Europa League, his hamstrings probably won't cope with it. I think they chuck him in after a long flight, little training. He's played one game against Panama. It would be a little bit of a risk for him for the rest of the season.
It's an interesting game, this one.
Very much.
Any result won't be a shock, a complete shock.
Open.
Go either way,
yeah. All right, moving on. Oh, game of the weekend. Watford against Wolverhampton Wanderers. So, let's see how many of these players you can guess in Watford's starting 11. Cathcart at right back, probably Troost. Ekong, Cabasela will come in because of Ciaralta not being able to play. Messina at left back, and then you've got the star boy Sarr playing on the right. He might shift Dennis to the left. Etibo as a defensive midfielder with Kucha and Sissoko in centre mid and King up top. Ozan Tufan might feature. He was one of 5 new central midfield signings for Watford in this transfer window. Who's out? Gosling, Pedro and Foster are all out and available. Let's have a look at Wolves.
Pedro, actually. Pedro's back in full training.
Oh, he is? I've got doubtful. Okay.
He is doubtful, but he's back in full training now.
All right. Well, Wolves probably go with what they did against United. Saiz, Cody and Kilman at the back. Semedo at right back. Marcel at left back. Martinho and Neves in the centre with Traore on the left, Trincao on the right. And because of Jimenez not being able to play, they're going with Silva up top, Fabio Silva. 19 years of age. Last season, he had 32 appearances. Do you know how many goals he scored last season? Take any guesses?
2. More than that?
4. Yeah. Johnny, Neto, Bueno, and Raul Jimenez, all unavailable. Now, I was looking at Traore and Trincao's goal stats from last season as well. So, Traore, 37 games last season. How many goals did he get?
Last season?
Yeah, in the league. 37 games. How many goals do you think?
I think he got any, did he?
Maybe got 3.
2.
Oh, okay.
He got a lot more the season before that, I do believe. Yeah.
5, something like that, I think it was. Anyway, that was just in the league. That was just in the league. Trincao in La Liga, 28 league games for Barcelona. How many goals do you think he scored?
4.
Go 5.
3. All right, so between them, last season, 4, 2, and 3. So that's 9 goals in 97 appearances between them.
I think Wolves are aware of that.
That's their attacking threat. We
Well,
all know what we're going to say, don't we, about Wolves? They just cannot score. They play great. They play really well. They have a good system. They just can't put the ball in the back of the net.
Well, they have signed Hee-chan Wang from Red Bull Leipzig.
That's true.
So they've got the Korean striker there, and they've obviously brought him in for a reason, as you've just said. Wouldn't be surprised if Jimenez is banned, they'll just chuck him straight in. Because Silva does look a bit lost up front on his own.
He looks his age, doesn't he? He doesn't look like Greenwood.
Exactly.
He looks young.
If you play two of them up top, they might cause Watford some problems. But Watford look like they might be more of a home team than an away team.
They've got a really good home record.
Yeah,
Wolves have lost their last... Can you believe this? Wolves have lost their last 6 Premier League goals, failing to score in 5 of them.
Lost 6 games.
They've been creating a heck of a lot of chances.
Lost
They've had
their last 6 and haven't scored in 5 of them. They don't feel like a team like that, do they?
Because they never get smashed. They lose 1-0.
Here's a good question for you. I remember, Stefan, you asked the question, Chelsea's leading goal scorer last season.
Jorginho, wasn't it?
Yeah. Do you know who Wolves' record goal scorer was last season?
Silva.
No.
Martinho?
Neves?
Yeah, Ruben Neves with 5 goals.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder how many of them were free kicks as well.
So, yeah, I mean, same old stuff with Wolves. They just can't get that ball in the back of the net. They play really well.
Creating a lot of chances, though. They do create.
They do create. And with Traore, they're always going to be a threat going forward.
It will come, I think, for them eventually.
Yeah.
If Traore could finish, it'd be ridiculous. It'd be really dangerous. But it's the same old story.
If he could finish, he'd be playing for PSG.
Yeah.
He'd be one of the best players in the world if he could finish with the talent he's got, with the speed he's got. But it's just not the case, I'm afraid. Prediction for this game, I don't know. I'm probably going to go with Watford just because of home form. But I honestly don't know. I really don't know. Wolves need to turn up. They're going to have to start scoring.
Yeah, but I wouldn't go as far to say that Wolves haven't. It's not a case of Wolves haven't turned up. Like in all 3 of their games, they've created a lot of chances.
Yeah. Isn't that worse though when you're playing really well and not scoring?
No, the creativity's clearly there. They just haven't got the lucky break they need. And I think once they've got a heck of a run, like the next 6 or 7 games, they'll play teams down there that should most definitely be getting goals against them. And it starts off against Watford this weekend. I think they've got Norwich, they've got Newcastle during this run. I mean, their fixtures after Saturday. They've got Brentford at home, Southampton away, Newcastle at home, Villa away, Leeds away. Tricky one with Everton at home and then Palace away. I mean, the goals will come for Wolves. I'm quite sure of that, and they'll probably end up finishing something like mid-table. It's just, can Jimenez get back? I mean, before his injury, he had about 16 goals the season before. So that's the big question mark, and the question of how this Korean striker Wang kind of fits into their plans, really.
I've got a feeling we're going to be talking about Jimenez a lot going forward. I mean, we've already spoke a few times about him, but if this continues with Wolves, like obviously they've got a strong enough squad to avoid relegation, but if you can't put the ball in the back of the net and this keeps happening and happening and happening, they're going to be in trouble.
It won't go down.
These are the same arguments I used to hear every week with Brighton last year. Create a lot, play nice football, don't have anyone to put the ball in the back of the net. And as a fan, there's nothing more frustrating.
Yeah, I can imagine it.
But as you say, it is all about Jimenez. As you say, Clive, he's got a good run of games here. If he gets one off his backside in the next couple of games, you never know.
Which is probably why Wolves will be desperate for this ban to be overturned, really. It's not good for Jimenez if he has to sit this one out. But, I mean, they've got Brentford up next, which is, they're a great side, Brentford. They're capable of getting a goal against them.
But anyway, fellas, Watford or Wolves? What are you saying?
Draw. I'm going to go draw.
Watford home win. But it depends if Jimenez is banned or not. That's the thing, I mean, if Jimenez is banned, definitely a Watford home win.
And if Jimenez is not banned and he starts?
Wolves away win.
Oh,
Jimenez,
wow.
Jimenez
so of all the players that are banned in the Premier League, potentially planned, is Jimenez the most important player for Wolves?
I'm going to stick my neck on the line here and say Jimenez gets a hat-trick if he plays on Saturday.
That is such a Clive prediction. All right, then. Let's move on. Chelsea versus Villa. The late kickoff on Saturday, Clive.
I mean, this is just made for just Lukaku to just cement his his second stint in Chelsea and just get off to a rocking start at Stamford Bridge. I mean, there's no Buendia. I don't think Bailey's going to feature much after coming all the way back from Jamaica, having played for them against Panama. No Martinez. Buendia's also out. Mings was injured in the last game. I mean, Lukaku must be licking his lips. Lukaku was saying, though, he left the Belgium squad early, got a booking in his last game, and then mentioned that he had a bit of a thigh strain that needed attention. So he's going to get a scan on that before returning to Chelsea. We've not got any team news from Thomas Tuchel yet on that. So, I mean, didn't sound too worried, but it's just something that he said's been bothering him and he needs it just looked at. It's probably something that he can hopefully manage. Pulisic also has been away with the USA team, so I don't see him starting. I reckon Mason Mount will probably get the nod in midfield, and those two looking like they might well click. Reece James is suspended, so you're probably going to go with Christensen and Rudiger at centre back. I would imagine Alonso is going to get the nod. He's not really done a great deal. Piccioletta probably will be three at the back for Chelsea. And yeah,
he really seems to favour Alonso over Chilwell, doesn't he?
I mean, yeah. I think he's a little bit like Pep in a lot of ways, Tuchel. He doesn't want to run his players into the ground. I was wondering, like, is Chilwell like his kind of player when he came in? Because he left him out for a while then, but towards the end of last season, Chilwell played in pretty much all the last remaining dozen or so games. Did come on as a sub in the cup final and very nearly to Leicester's expense, bar a toenail offside. But I think he will feature, and I think Chelsea probably might be just looking at the fact that it's going to be a long season. They're defending champions of the Champions League, and they want to make sure that he's kept fit. I think as the season goes on, I think you'll probably see Chilwell playing a bit more in the left back in the left back slot. But yeah, I mean, Kante's fit, Jorginho's fit.
Actually, Kante withdrew from the French squad.
Oh, my apologies.
Yeah, because of apparently he was injured against Liverpool. Got injured against Liverpool, so that was nagged. So they will be assessed, as will Kai Havertz as well. So. But the strength of depth, ridiculous. Because even with those players out, they can still play Kovacic and Jorginho. They can even play
New boy, right? Is he available?
Yeah, he's available. Yeah,
Niguez.
Yeah, Niguez, Kovacic. They could even play Timo Werner behind Lukaku if they wanted to. I mean, that's always an option.
I mean, Steer is the reserve keeper for Villa. I think he's going to be very busy. On Saturday night, and I just see Chelsea just absolutely thrashing Villa 5-0 here. Can't see it going any other way.
I can't even say Ings nicking one, no?
Maybe, but I think it's going to be
5-1.
I think I can see Lukaku just running riot at Stamford Bridge on Saturday evening. Watkins maybe might breathe a bit of life. I just think they're just lacking a bit of creativity in midfield, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, El Ghazi's going to have to be on his game. McGinn's played for Scotland, so he's over his COVID issues. I mean, Mings needs to be fit for this one if Villa have got to have any chance.
No, I don't think they've got any chance. And like you said, without Martinez or Buendia, it's highly unlikely they're going to get anything from this game.
I can't see it either.
Yeah.
The major difference for Chelsea this year is Lukaku up top, as you say. I saw Werner play for Germany midweek. I think he got one against Iceland, but he missed an absolute sitter up to his old tricks again. So, yeah, they're in such a stronger position they were going forward this year. And, yeah, it will be comfortable for Chelsea.
Failed to mention Hudson-Odoi as well, if you've got. You can just throw in if they want. So
yeah, you get most other teams, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Yeah, ridiculous numbers, ridiculous strength. All right, Sunday game is Leeds against Liverpool. Now, this is potentially a very, very interesting one because Liverpool could be without Firmino, Fabinho, and Alisson.
Well, Firmino was possibly injured already.
That's true.
I mean, Fabinho and Alisson are a big loss for.
Yeah, huge
Liverpool.
loss because I'm not sure who they will play
next.
Well, I've predicted it. Kelleher, the Irish boy, the 22-year-old Irish boy, could be starting away at Leeds.
They had this problem, didn't they, a year or so ago?
He's had 4 appearances for Liverpool so far.
Yeah.
Last season, 2 in the league and 2 in the Champions League. However, the other players the players in front of him basically picked themselves. Robertson and Trent, Dijk, Matip, Thiago Henderson, Elliot or Keita, and then Mane, Salah and Jota. So they've still got a really, really strong starting 11, just at the keeper. And then, the way that Liverpool play could be key, to be honest. Could be key. And Leeds they've definitely got more of a chance. I don't know if they've got a big chance or a big opportunity, but without Alisson in there, yeah, they've got more of a chance that they would. But saying that, they will be without Rafinha.
Enter Dan James.
Who's going to probably, he's going to start. I've got Meslier in net, then Eiling, Llorente, Cooper. I think Dallas will go back in left back like he did against Man United. Phillips, he played really well for England, and then Tyler Roberts could come in. Click, Harrison on the left, James on the right, and then Bamford. It looks like, they're predicting that Bielsa is going to play 4-1-4-1, the formation that he loves so dearly, instead of the 3 at the back that he did against Everton and Burnley. 2.5 goals scored by Leeds in the last 3 home games. Sorry, in the Leeds fixtures in the last 3 home games. They are undefeated in their last 7 home games. And last season, you have to remember, they drew against Arsenal, Manchester City, Manchester United, and Liverpool also. However, Liverpool have won 7 of their last 8 away matches. And they've scored at least 2 goals in their last 4 away games. But without Fabinho and Alisson, like I said, I think it could be a real scrap in midfield. I think Leeds have the potential to cause an upset, but I don't think they will, because they're missing probably their best player in Rafinha, even though some people probably think it might be Bamford or Phillips. I think Rafinha is an outstanding player. I still think Liverpool have got enough to get over the line. So I'm going to go
probably.
With 2-1.
Although I think Daniel James he looked good for Wales against Estonia last night, and I think he's got a point to prove against the Leeds United faithful, who aren't best pleased that signing the Manchester United player when he turned them down before. So he needs to hit the ground running, and I don't know. I think Leeds just haven't really got to the sort of levels they were at last season. So they are.
No, they haven't. And then, me personally, I predicted they'll do very well this season, but they look like they've stagnated a little bit. Yeah. I know it's early days, but still, I think it looks like Firpo will be doubtful as well. So, like I said, yeah, Stuart Dallas will be starting at the left back. So, yeah, have Leeds strengthened the way that you thought they might do over the summer? Maybe not.
It's the Arsenal argument, isn't it? They spent £30 million on their best position, if you like. And maybe that could have been spent somewhere else, maybe the centre back or centre of the park, or as maybe in that second striker for backup for Bamford.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Leeds finished mid-table last year, and they'll probably do the same again this year. In this game, I just feel the goalkeeper, that Kelleher, is a massive, massive issue. If we spoke about Carson coming up against Leicester, we know that Liverpool struggled before when Alisson went out of the team.
Yeah.
And Bielsa will target that. I think Leeds might edge it on the basis of no Alisson in goal.
Well, I hope you're right. Clive?
If Alisson's out, I can see Leeds getting something from this for sure. Yeah, Leeds could nick a draw here if Alisson is out. Yeah.
All right, so I'm going Liverpool, Stefan's going Leeds, and you're going to draw. Fair enough. All right, we're moving on to the last game. Everton and Burnley on Monday night, Stefan.
Yeah, the Mike Bassett derby, the 4-4-2 derby. So Rafa against Deitch. DCL is a doubt. He withdrew from the England squad. Richarlison is available, as we spoke about, due to what I would call basically good diplomatic relations.
Being a good boy, tab on the head.
Basically, yeah. Rondon didn't meet up with the Venezuelan squad, so he could make a debut here. Was that the 3rd debut under Rafa? Seamus Coleman injured on international duty. Yerry Mina a doubt, so we might see Godfrey come in. And I don't know. I think the first few games have been quite kind. The fixture list's been quite kind to Rafa, but he has delivered in that 4-4-2. They look strong in every department. I wonder now what's going to happen to James, because he was a player that I assume was going, and he doesn't.
Well,
look like
there's rumours that he's going to end up in the Turkish league. I think is it Besiktas? After him.
Why would you do that?
The Turkish league transfer window is still open, and they've agreed terms with Everton to take him on loan, but he's refusing to go.
Wasn't his whole point that he wanted to play under Ancelotti? Like, he's a player of that type of quality, and he deserves to be at a Real Madrid or somewhere.
Well, he's probably not that player anymore.
He shot himself in the foot, because you'd rather stay in England and play for Everton than play for a Turkish side.
I don't think he'll be playing for Everton this season.
I don't think so either. But that's what I'm saying.
Benitez has made it very clear that he won't get in.
I don't think Everton are going to miss him either, especially playing the formation that they're playing and doing what
fit him.
Doesn't fit. Not at all. No.
Him or Sigurdsson, as we say. For Burnley, it could be the debut, as Clive said, for Cornet at left back. I wonder if he does score, if he'll kiss that kit supplier badge or not.
Better do.
I just feel, I think Burnley are quite equipped to deal with the threat of Everton, whether with Richarlison or DCL or Rondon, whoever it might be. But I still think Everton at the moment look absolutely fantastic all over the park. And I think this will probably be a sad night in front of Match of the Day for Dyche and Wone. I'm afraid they might want to skip this one. I'll probably go for a comfortable, similar to last week for Everton, a comfortable 2-0 win for Everton.
Yeah, I think the same. I think that, on the coach back to their house, one goes up the stairs, one way to his bedroom, Dyche goes the other way. They both slam each other's doors. Maybe a little look of sadness in the eyes as they slam the doors. But yeah, like you said,
Steve Stone sat in the living room with his Tesco Happy Meal.
I think that Everton are sort of like a zooped up version of Burnley, the way they play.
Oh, I think they're much better than that.
Well, you know what I'm saying, though? Like, very direct, easy. The formation and the system is simplistic, but all over the park, they've just got more quality in what they do. And I think, yeah. But even though, Burnley will be aware of what they can do, I don't think they'll be able to stop it. So
Burnley won't give away cheap goals. They never do they? But I just think the overall threat that Everton have going forward down those wings with Damari Gray.
It's not even that
revelation.
Central mid as well. The way that Allen and Decore play.
Totally. Yeah.
I don't think Burnley will be able to cope.
When you've got a player like Gray, who Allen can just lay the ball off to, and someone that will run directly at the back four, Allen just
and then with Richarlison, who can do a bit of everything, provide an assist or score himself.
Yeah, come deep.
Yeah.
And let's not forget they signed Solomon Rondon, didn't they?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can see him bagging a few goals for Everton this season when needed.
That's a break the glass situation, though, isn't it? If you bring it on Rondon, like 1-0 down
at
home
it's
to
break
Leeds.
The glass. It's break the glass and throw the sink at everything, isn't it? You've got three rampant strikers there, haven't you? Richarlison, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and Rondon. You've got the likes of Townsend and Gray just whipping in balls. Honestly, the amount of headed goals that they'll probably get by the end of the season will just eclipse everybody else, to be perfectly honest with you.
How many crosses are we going to see this game, boys?
It was 17, right, against Southampton. That always sticks.
That was just by Everton, though, wasn't it? Like, both teams, they'll probably excesses of about 30, I reckon, easy.
Yeah.
So an Everton win, probably, but could we see the record for the most amount of crosses in a single Premier League game this weekend at Goodison?
Well, it's on at tie time, 2 a.m, so I'll let you get up and count.
I was there with my clicker.
Yeah.
All right, boys, should we wrap this up?
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you, everyone, for joining us for the preview show. And we'll see you later on where we'll be doing the roundup, probably next Tuesday. Yeah. Have a great week, great weekend, and Viva Ronaldo.
See you guys.
Cheers.